First of all, before we start, I'd like to ask you a question. Can you hear me? I'd like to know that. So if you can, please write something like hello, or I can hear you, Piotr, in the chat box 2 levels below the place where you can see me. All right? And I can see that that you're writing. Thank you very much for all your answers. This is a clear message to me that we can begin. Okay, so idioms for work and collocations. We are going to have a look at more than a dozen, maybe around 20 or 25 phrases, idioms, collocations, which you can, with which you can talk about work and various relationships in your workplace. I've decided to use a couple of good materials with which we will do a couple of things. There are some exercises planned on the way, but we will begin with two conversations. I've decided to use some examples, good contexts, to show you the vocabulary I wanted to show. So here we go. Here comes the first little story. It's a discussion of job applicants. We have two people using some very nice, sophisticated vocabulary. Let me just read it to you, and then we'll discuss the important and maybe new words and phrases. Okay? So here it goes. So, which of these applicants do you think we should interview? They all seem to fit the job description quite well to me. It's quite a daunting task to narrow down the list to just one person. I agree. So let's start by taking up references for these 10 people. All right, so why did you pick these 10 out of the 50 who applied? Well, these 10 all seem to be people who realize the importance of working as a team. They've all shown that they're capable of mastering new skills, and they're clearly comfortable with taking on responsibility. Did you automatically eliminate the two who'd previously taken industrial action? One of them. I'd also heard rumors about his involvement in a professional misconduct case. He was certainly relieved of his duties at ARG under mysterious circumstances, but the other one was standing up for a woman who'd been wrongfully dismissed, even though he knew he might lose his job. So he sounded good to me. Fair enough. He must have strength of character to risk losing his own livelihood. That's right. So, could we pencil in a meeting for considering the references? And then I'd better leave you and go and clear my desk before I go home. Yes, sure. How about Friday at 10? So, here it is. A text very nicely packed with some possibly new vocabulary. Let me just ask you a question. Is everything clear? I hope not. I hope you have some questions. If you see a phrase or a word which I don't talk about, just please write it in the chat. Okay? So here are some of the words I think that we could have a look. The first one is right over here, to take industrial action. Now, this might ring a bell because, as you know, teachers at public schools, they've taken industrial action, and this is another word to go on strike. Okay, so here comes the first word, to take industrial action. Now, the second phrase I wanted to show you is this one, relieved of his duties. This means fired. Actually, we will have a look at another very similar word today, but later. Okay, to be relieved of one's duties, to be fired or dismissed. Actually, the word dismissed is in here as well, right? To be wrongfully dismissed. So unfurly. Okay, and what else is here? Clear one's desk. Well, this means to deal with all the papers on one's desk, and when you've done it, you can go home. Okay, so let's have a look at all the surrounding vocabulary, also the one in bold. Maybe you have some questions. This is your opportunity. I will also try to lead you to some new words, some new questions. Are you sure everything is clear? Don't be afraid. This is what you have me for. Okay, let me ask you about this. The daunting task. Can anyone tell us what it means? Please use the chat, or maybe you'd like to use the context to get the idea. I can see someone's writing. Very good. My second question will be this: to narrow down the list. All right. And maybe also losing one's livelihood and penciling in a meeting. Okay, so these are my 4 choices. Daunting task. Thank you, Mateusz. It's a very good description, very good translation, actually. So that's something beyond your powers, or you think it's beyond your powers. It's like overwhelming. A task you don't want to do. It's a good description, Piotr. Okay. Thank you, Tomasz, for trying to explain narrowing down the list, right? So they started with 50 names and ended up with 10, right? That's the short list. So narrowing down the list. Very nice. What about losing your own livelihood? What is livelihood? Okay. Livelihood is the way you earn money. So if you lose your livelihood, well, you're in trouble, right? If you're a taxi driver, your car is your livelihood, right? If you are, exactly, that's right. Very good, Mateusz. So what about penciling in the meeting, right? You take a pencil, right? And then you take your diary and you pencil in a meeting. What could that mean? Penciling a meeting. Well, maybe, it's not for sure. It's like 80–90%, right? You're discussing a meeting with someone and say, okay, maybe Tuesday, but I'm not sure if this is going to be a working day. Maybe we'll leave earlier. But let's pencil in a meeting, okay? With a pencil, not with a pen. All right, thank you very much. So let's have a look at the second text. It's more or less the same subject, but a different situation. It's a conversation about a new job. I hear your brother's landed a fantastic new job. Well, actually, it's not as good as he hoped. He's got a terribly heavy load, and that means working some very unsocial hours. He also complains about having to do lots of menial tasks around the office, running errands for his boss. But he's well paid, or paid well. Not really. He just gets about a living wage, and all the overtime is unpaid. He'll just have to throw a sickie from time to time. Yes, I suggested he did that too, but he says he's afraid of getting the sack if he does. He feels there might be some prospects for him there eventually, but if he is just being used as a sweated labor at the moment. Well, with any luck, he'll just find that he can realize his potential there. I hope so. But they have a very high turnover rate. Very high turnover of stuff, and it won't be easy for him to stay the course. No, but he's very determined, isn't he? So let's hope it all works out. Okay, so Similarly to the text we worked on previously, I'd like you to think about your choices. I'll show you mine. So the first one is landing a new job. And as you can see in the description, it just means to get a new job, a job that you maybe really wanted, you're happy with. The second one, living wage. Well, that's enough money to live on, right? So you could ask those teachers who have taken the industrial action, the ones who earn less than 2,000 zloty. Is this living wage, right? Do they get a living wage? Probably not. Okay, throw a sickie. That's to take a day off work, double F in here, pretending to be sick. But remember, it's pretending to be sick, right? So sickie is like a sick leave, but the whole phrase is, well, leads you to the situation in which you are just pretending to be sick. Getting the sack, that's one of the things, that's one of the phrases I spoke before about, that's to be dismissed. Getting the sack goes back to the time of industrial revolution, when you had a lot of manual laborers, manual workers. They carried their tools in sacks. So imagine one of them woke up in the morning, went to work, and his boss gave him the sack. This was a clear sign that this person was fired, right? So getting the sack with all your tools, with all your hammers and screwdrivers and whatever, this meant you're fired. And the idiom has taken on and is still with us. All right, and sweated labor, that is workers who are unpaid or underpaid, sorry, paid very little for the work, and they do it in very bad conditions. Realizing your potential, this is just achieving what is capable of, what someone is capable of. And finally, to stay the course, this means to remain successful. Okay, what about the rest? Do you have any questions about the other words or phrases? I'm sure you might have a few questions. Let me just show you my favorite words from here. Words, phrases. I guess that's what I wanted to show you. These 4 phrases. Okay, so high turnover stuff. Very good, Mateusz. Good question. Turnover, right? People come and go. People come and go. So that's right. Good, good description, Monica. Thank you. You work as a team, even though you don't know each other. That's it. Thank you. What about unsocial hours? Okay, running errands. Thank you, Bożena. Right? What about running errands? Let me give you a silly example. I remember when I went to school, there was one of the teachers. Of course, his subject was PE, right? Physical education, and he would pick a student, and he would say, "Okay, Janek, go and get me a pack of cigarettes, or go and get me a bottle of Coca-Cola," right? This action, Janek going to the shop and buying something for the teacher, that was an errand, right? Running errands. Another example of errand in a business context, in a workplace context, could be your boss tells you to do a mountain of photocopying, right? And this is your task, this is your job. Not very nice usually. Just like sprawunki, yeah. good translation, but in a different context. Yeah. Menial tasks are tasks that nobody likes, that people usually hate. Tasks, some kind of slavish tasks. So nothing good as well. Menial tasks. Okay, thank you, Monica. Glad to hear that. Okay, so is that all? High turnover stuff, running errands, menial tasks. Oh, and social hours. Okay, let's think about social hours, right? Social hours are after work, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 weekends, right? This is the time for you and your friends, your family, social time, when you socialize. Unsocial hours is when you have to work at this time, okay? So if you work unsocial hours, maybe you work in the radio, right? And you're on a night shift, or in any other place where the typical working day is not 9 to 5. All right. So now let's have a look at a few exercises. Out of this exercise, I'd like us to choose just 2 or maybe 3 examples. Well, the instruction is very simple. Can you remember a collocation, phrase, idiom that matches these definitions? So what is it? To make a provisional date for a meeting. Please use the chat. I can give you a little hint. This is not a pen. This is penciling and eating. Very nice. Excellent. Good job, Monica. So what about an alarmingly difficult task? Okay, the pencil in meeting. What about alarmingly difficult task? The first letter is D. The last letter is G. A daunting task. Very good. Almost perfect. Almost perfect, Bertha. A daunting task. Very nice. Okay, and what about number 7? Number 7, to be deprived, like Polish word deprivacja, so you don't have something, to be deprived of your source of income. Okay, to lose, very good. It's about livelihood. To lose your livelihood. Brilliant. We can skip the rest, okay? Because you can do the rest in your free time, at your leisure. By the way, all those meaningful slides, you'll get them in your PDF pack after the webinar. So don't worry, you'll have an opportunity to finish this exercise. Thank you. Okay, what about this one? It's more standard. We're just completing a paragraph using the word from the box, and this is clearly about those 2 texts. Let me just read it to you maybe. Charlotte was surprised, but happy too. A job on her local newspaper as soon as she left university. She was surprised because she didn't feel that the job description, but she was happy because she had always dreamt of working as a journalist. So she didn't really mind when she found that she was spending too much of her time, errands for the editor. Her brother said she was just being used as labor, but she felt confident that the good prospects for her. She was sure she would soon have the chance to do something on more responsibility. Okay, so a little help from you would be to write the number and then the word, all right? So I can see you've already started doing that. Number 1, is land. Beautiful. To land a job. What about number 2? Fit. Excellent choice. And 3, can I see any ideas for 3? Running errands. Very nice. What about 4? This was something related to, when your body heat. Exactly. When your body, yes. It's about body heat. Sweat. So sweated labor. In 5, be careful about the form. We need 2 words in here. Could be was. Let's see if this works. Her brother said she was just being used as sweated labor, but she felt confident there was. Maybe were, right? Maybe were good prospects, because this is prospects. I would suggest maybe also would be, right? There would be good prospects for her there. She was sure she would have soon the chance to do what? Take more responsibility. Oh, excellent. Very nice. You're a great group. Very responsive, very smart. I wish I could, listen to you, but there are too many students here. I can't turn on the audio. But maybe one day we'll meet in a regular lesson, because this kind of environment, it's very similar to what we do in our virtual classrooms. So maybe one day. Okay, very nice. Now we'll move on to 3 shorter texts. We will have 3 people. We will have Emily, Ben, and Julia. Julia is an office worker, Ben is a doctor, and Emily is a teacher. Let me read this short paragraph by her. In my mid-20s, I joined the staff of a language school. The pay wasn't brilliant, but I could make a living, and there were many aspects of the job that I enjoyed. The other members of staff were nice, and I enjoyed teaching the students. A few years later, after returning from maternity leave, I decided to go part-time. Luckily, I was able to do a job share with another woman who had a small child. Then the school began to go through a difficult period and had to lay off staff. I decided to go freelance, and I had managed to build up a network of contacts, and this gave me a good start. I soon had a substantial volume of work, private students, marking exams, and was able to earn a good living. Right, so let's have a look at some vocabulary, and we will discover much more in a moment. Just a second. All right, there we go. So the first thing we could notice is the phrase "make a living," earning money, right? Make a living. To do a job share, maybe this is something that you've done at your workplace, right? This is a situation where 2 people share equal parts of the same job. Sometimes it happens. This is one of the words which mean to fire somebody, right? To give someone the sack. Dismiss stuff because there's no work for them to do. Lay off. So maybe this is not because somebody, made a mistake, a huge mistake, or did something wrong. Go freelance. This is work for several different organizations. Something that has a very nice name in Polish. Maybe you know it. If you do, a nice translation would be a good idea. So what is freelance? And I have a few more questions, to be honest. First of all, yes, that's the word I wanted to ask you about, substantial. Maybe you know what is substantial volume of work. Any translation? Let's think together. All right. I guess maternity leave is clear, right? This is when a woman has a baby, right? A child and doesn't go to work. So I guess I probably only wanted to ask you about substantial. Very good, Matthias. Okay, so what about a nice location, a different one with substantial, right? You have a substantial volume of work. Any other things that could be substantial? Substantial means like, there's a lot of something. For example, there is a police investigation and the police are collecting evidence against, or the prosecutor is collecting evidence against someone, right? So after some time, you can say that someone collected substantial amount of evidence. Or you can say that the breakfast you had in the morning was substantial. It was really big, full, satisfied your hunger. Okay, thank you. Here comes the second text, the one about Ben, who is a doctor. After graduating, I practiced medicine for a number of years in London. I managed to carve a niche for myself as a specialist in dermatology. Then I realized I needed some fresh challenges, and so I did a job swap for a year with my opposite number in a clinic in Vancouver. When I returned, I went back to my old job and also took up the post of editor of a leading medical journal. I held that position for a number of years, and now I'm hoping to go abroad again, and so I'm letting everyone know that I'm open to offers. Okay, so practicing medicine is, of course, working as a doctor. Niche, just like in the business environment, um, niche in business is a product that is not very popular, it's profitable, or service, right? So he carved like in wood, he carved like you can carve things in wood. He carved a niche for himself. Um, so that's the second meaning. Your opposite number is someone who does the same work as you do. So imagine if you maybe you work in a company that has a branch in another city, right? And maybe in that branch or in that office, there's someone who does exactly the same as you. Here's your opposite number. Okay. And to take up the post, that's start working. Fine, thank you. So what about some questions? Do you have any? I'm looking at the stuff that's around. Maybe a job swap, right? Do you read my mind, Bożena? So when we swap in different situation in life, imagine we're having lunch together, Bożena, right? And I have pierogis and you have I don't know, something else, right? You have 2 slices of pizza. So we can swap. I give you 3 pierogis and you give me 1 slice of pizza. This is swapping, right? Exchanging. So a job swap, you just swap it with another person. If he is or she is your opposite number, that's even better because you don't have to learn anything new. All right, so let's move on to the last text before we move on to a few exercises. That's Julia. After graduating in economics, I did the usual thing of putting together my CV and applying for jobs. I got a very tempting offer from an investment bank and I accepted it. I was put on a fast-track scheme and was moving up the ladder fast. However, one day I had a change of heart and I realized I'd stopped enjoying the excitement. I felt I needed to get my priorities right. I decided that other aspects of my life should take priority over my work, so I handed in my resignation and moved to the country. Okay. So, fast track scheme, a system for rapid training and promotion. Moving up the ladder is being promoted. Now, can someone try to give a nice translation into Polish of what ladder is? What is a ladder? Because I think we have a very similar idiom in Polish. Thank you, right? That's the ladder. So to move up the ladder to get promoted. Thank you very much, everybody. A change of heart is when you change your attitude. To get your priorities right is when, I've just read Ivona's comments. Yes, where was it? Moving up the ladder. That could be the career path as well, right? To get your priorities right is to give importance to the right aspects of life and to take priority over something else. Clearly, this something else is less important. Okay, any questions? Any other questions about this? I have at least one. And that's about the word tempting. What could this be? Tempting offer. Very nice, Mateusz. Thank you. That's that's what it is. Excellent. Anything else? Thank you for the question, Piotr. Well, when you hand in your resignation, just like in Polish, you decide to stop working, so you just hand it in, right? You've just, written it, and you just hand it in to your boss. Okay. I hope that's not going to be anything useful, unless you don't like your job and you would like to change it. All right, have a look at a few sentences now that to put something together. All right, we can go back. When you put together your CV or I don't know, and something to write, a report, you just write this. Yeah, it's just another word to prepare to write, to put your CV together, to put a report together. Imagine you just putting information together. So useful idiom. Thank you. So let's do this little exercise in which we have to connect things from the phrases on your left with the phrases on your right. If you could please use the number and then write the ending. Okay, so you could do like number 1. Let's give you an example. Number 1, my husband and I do, what will it be? Maybe a job share, right? Does it make sense? I think it does. Okay. So what about the rest? Number 2, circulate the report to all members. Exactly. So just looking forward to your suggestions. To all members of the staff in company. Yes, very good. Jonas has been happier since he went. Any suggestions? If he went in the present, this will be go, right? Part-time, very good. Nice. Part-time. I hope it won't be easy. I'm sorry. I hope it won't be necessary to lay. Won't be necessary to lay. Actor? Nope. Number 4. Okay. Lay off stuff. Very good. Lay off many of our stuff. This means dismiss, right? Or dismiss or give the sack, right? It's not easy to make what? To make, all right, make a living as an actor. It's not easy to make a living as a teacher in a public school, right? Okay. Meeting people is the best aspect of contacts. Maybe. How about of the job? All right. Okay. We'll change the color now. Good. So Marian was the last person to join what? Think about it for a moment. Marian was the last person who joined. How about the stuff? Yeah, maybe there are two possibilities. Reconnected, circulate the report to all members. Ah, there's a little mistake. To all members, you see, there's a little thing in here. Oops. Don't worry. Marian was the last person to join the staff in our company and circulate the report to all members of staff, right? That's how it should be. Okay. So what about Anna? Anna will be going on maternity leave. Very nice. Where is it? Over here. And try to build up a good network of, and this is where contacts go. Brilliant. We've had a ridiculous volume of work this month. Excellent. Well, great students, just like before. And because you're so great, how about something more difficult right now? Okay. So please have a look at this conversation. It still deals with the phrases we looked at a few minutes ago. So we had Emily, we had Ben, and we had Julia. Okay, let me get you the right slide. Here it is. So whenever you're ready, you can type it in along the number, alongside the number. So did you know my son's in Australia at the moment? He's doing a job swap with his opposite number. Very nice. So let's just type it in. That's the person who, what about number 2? Who a similar position to his in the company. What do I do with this pencil, actually? Okay, I have it. All right, what about I use my hand to okay, if there was a baby in here, I could grab the baby. Maybe I could grab a beer, but you know, with a baby, you okay, you get the baby, you keep the baby, you how about you in your arms, you know? You you hold, right. Finally, thank you. So holds is here. Holds a similar position to the one in the company. Very nice. Well, that's good. I thought he wanted to go to the States this year. Well, yes. He did have a very tempting offer. Yes. Okay. Excellent. Company, he was about to accept, but then he had something of heart. Change of heart. Excellent. So have you met the person from Sydney? Yes. Been to dinner a couple of times. He'd like to settle here. And he has asked us to tell everyone his offers from companies that might be interested. The missing word is like, a window. Today was very warm, so maybe your window was open. Right. So just like this guy, he's open to offers. Okay. Perhaps we could do with someone with good Australian contacts, but could we really do with someone who could post before the end of the year? What do you think about this one? Who could, it's like grab, when you grab something, you take it. Very good. Who could take up, right? Who could take up the post before the end of the year? All right, and finally, two easy ones. I hope not. I've told him to get his priorities left. No, not left. You think your son will stay in Australia? I hope not. I told him to get his priorities right. He should stay with mum, right? Being near his mum should something priority over his Australian beaches and sunshine. So one more time, grab, right? Take priority. Take priority. All right. Well, excellent job. It's really late, and we've just had a mini lesson. I wonder how many words were new to you. If you still remember some of the words that you thought were interesting, either from this text or from that one, or from the three texts we've just had, you can write it in the chat, right? Something that you would like to remember. Maybe that's your recommendation for your colleagues from this session. Okay. I hope it's not a daunting task to write something. Maybe it is because it's quite late. We're meeting in unsocial hours, right? So you know what I'm doing, right? Very useful vocabulary here. And of course, you'll get all the slides and maybe some more exercises in a PDF compilation of this session. Thank you very much for your time. Enjoy the rest of the evening, and I guess we'll see each other in one of the next webinars. It's been a pleasure talking to you, maybe even teaching you a little. And thank you again. Bye, everyone. Thank you for your input. You were really active. So I really enjoyed it. I hope you enjoyed it too. See you soon. Bye. Thank you.